Okay. I think
We,
Alyssa can hear you now. We're live, but I think she
yes.
can hear you. All right. So I guess we're ready to go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Activism, our second webisode discussing the industry through the lens of Black creative professionals. I'm Dawn Gray. I'm the president of Gray Talent Group. And we are so excited to have Emmy Award-winning casting director Robbie Reed with us today. Thank you so much, Robbie, for joining us.
For having me.
And our host, Josie Thacker, is back. Actor, teacher, producer. She's going to lead the panel today. And a little bit later on, Tiffany Yvonne Cox will be joining us to provide her point of view from an actor's perspective. Just the webisode is presented by B-Fly Creative Productions, Respect for Acting Academy, and Great Talent Group. And we're an agency dedicated to taking actors to the next level of their career. We have offices in Chicago and Los Angeles. We are so excited to present this to you today. Take it away, Josie.
Well, I want to first start off by just thanking my great agent. I made the bold move of leaving LA at a point where I felt like I felt like I was in a really unhealthy relationship with Hollywood. As an actor myself, I'm an acting coach as well. I moved to Chicago and met my agent, Dawn Gray, who has just been really, really wonderful. She's a great agent who really cares about actors. And it showed in when she approached me to collaborate on this idea of making a difference, because we both felt sort of, just powerless. Like,
Right.
what can we do to help make a difference? Robbie, and I know that you know, right? So we came together and we thought that we wanted to help our actors by having a conversation, having a very, very, very needed conversation about the future of Black casting, right? And so no one better than to sort of speak on the topic than our very, very own Robbie Reed. As Dawn said, she's an Emmy Award-winning casting director for movies such as Malcolm X, Poetic Justice. She's the VP of Talent and Casting for BET. And we are so, so happy. She's also my sister. God has brought us together, and we are here today strictly for you, Black and Brown actors, to just give you a little help, just a little relief, maybe even a little bit of release of, kind of getting an idea of what it looks like and what it may be like for us moving forward. I think it's an important conversation to have. And this is my way of sort of giving back in this like very, very challenging and stressful season for all of us. So welcome, Robbie.
Thank you.
welcome, sweetheart. Thank you so much for being here. It means a lot to me. Let's jump into it, because I know that we only have a certain amount of time, and I want to make sure that we have time for Tiffany to come in as well. So before we get started, though, I did want to mention this is a free webinar. But one of the things that we offered that we wanted to do to make it special to all of our guest speakers, such as Robbie, was to ask anyone who might want to donate to her charity of choice. And she has her own charity. It's called REED, spelled R-E-E-D, for Hope Foundation. And we're going to provide that link for you, for anybody who would like to make a donation to her charity at any point while this is going on, while the webinar is going on, but anytime after the webinar as well. Just a quick sort of view of what her charity is about. Their mission is to improve the vitality of the global village by changing specific cultural attitudes about wellness, disease prevention, and health disparities through the strategic implementation of messages that impact pop culture. I love that so much. Do you want to just talk really quickly about that, Robbie?
Sure. Thank you, Josie. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
I love being able to share whatever I can about my foundation. Then, of course, just about, the business,
Yeah.
which I've been in for a really long time. Thank
But
God.
you look really, really good.
Well, I tell people I was that 5-year-old protege,
Yeah.
That's what it
Right, that's right. That's right. I love
So
it.
Paper Hope is health and wellness. It's about healthy living and healthy lifestyles. And so using our voice, our platforms to encourage people really just to take care of themselves. And that's
Yeah.
it in a nutshell.
Good, good. And this really is a way of taking care of yourself as well, right? Like I think a lot of people are, it's a great segue because I think a lot of actors, are just going through it. This is a very stressful time and can be a very stressful time when you just don't know, what the future holds,
Yeah.
And so one of the first things I think is a no-brainer to talk about is representation on screen, right? So we have seen a lot of increase in the breakdown services, a lot of, changes in that they're trying to be more inclusive.
Yeah.
But when it comes to roles that are written to be any ethnicity, do you feel it dilutes the telling of stories specific to one ethnicity?
That's good. That's a good question. And I think that it really depends on what it is, what the project is, what the project is about, for that to have more or less of an impact.
Mm-hmm.
I think, the more specific, great, but I think saying any ethnicity just gets people in the space of being open, to representing
Right.
the world as we know it, which is diverse.
So do you think that right now we're just sort of just trying to change that, by just, making them, when I say them, I mean non-blacks who are running, the entertainment business. Just it's just a way of like sort of opening that mindset. Is that
Yeah,
what I'm hearing?
it really is a mindset and a perspective.
Right.
And if you're not aware, I mean, I think that people are not always, we have to hold people responsible and accountable, of course, but I don't think people are always doing things intentionally. I think people are, at the end of the day, just are not as aware about things, period. They lack awareness, and if it's not their experience, then they just might not have a real, feel empathy or a real perspective about it, and then when it's brought to their attention, they receive it. It's almost like, oh, I never thought about it. You know what I mean? It happens like that. Not that it's good or bad, but it's just truth,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
Okay, I mean, I do feel that, wanting to be a little more sort of transparent, and I think that with all that's happening in the world, it's a real conversation. I'm sorry, my glasses have a glare to them. Being just a little more transparent with where we are today. We're in a really, really good place, and if there was going to be change and sort of a new conversation, that conversation is now. I feel like it's now or never. And I feel like, yeah, there has to be accountability, because, this is not a new conversation.
Not at all.
Not a new conversation at all. I definitely don't want to pretend it's a new conversation. This is a conversation that has been, sort of presented and at many roundtables. And so with what's all that's transpiring today, and I think that we are in a new day, what can we expect? What can we expect so that it's not, sort of a friendly conversation that's had, that it's not just to sort of open it. What can we expect? And, is there anything happening, Robbie, to make sure that we're going to be able to have more opportunities as African Americans?
I think absolutely there is. And I think you touched on a few things that are key. So we said accountability, but it's being responsible is also, and, having it's one thing to talk about it, then it's another thing to be about it, right?
Yeah, that's
So
right.
making a real definitive decision to do something. And I think that's what some studios are stepping up and doing. They actually have actions, missions, and are setting up programs. I know one studio in particular, I don't want to call the name because I don't want to get it wrong, but one prominent studio in particular has made, they have made a definitive decision to cast, a certain amount of actors in the lead of color, Black folks, and then also, to make sure there's a certain amount of people of color behind the scenes too. And I know that there have been programs set up in the past to do that very thing, and then for whatever reason, it falls off. I think that we are in a very specific, particular time right now. And the opportunity, but we have the attention of many more places and people than I think we've had ever before.
Yeah.
And people are willing to be, I think, really willing to stand up and be held accountable, and are more willing to also do something, So, I think now is really the time. If you have ideas, get out there and pitch them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. I agree. My whole thing is be, fly, create, right? Be, fly, create it, create your own voice, create your own projects, go out there, shoot them, pitch them. I totally agree. I think it's going to be really helpful them hearing it from you,
Yes, it is important. I mean, we have all kinds of tools now, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to wait for opportunities. You never should. I tell people all the time, you do what you can, the business is show business. So at a certain point, there are fiscal responsibilities. And so it's at the end of the day, there's the bottom line. And there are numbers you have to meet. Then there's sales and there's marketing. There are all these pieces.
Right.
Talent is a piece of it. It's an important piece, but it's a piece of it. So, but if you really believe this is for you, you put in your time, study, rehearse, even if you don't have a part. You will get up every morning and you rehearse something.
Absolutely.
Right. And
stay ready so you don't have to get ready, right?
Well, yeah. And that's a saying, but it's the truth.
It is. It's not just a fancy saying, right? It's
because
like
everyone's opportunity does. Your moment will come.
Right.
And you want to be ready for it. And if you really truly believe this is for you, then you will stick in it until your moment comes.
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So let's see, I want to make sure that we talk about some real relevant things. Let's talk about stereotypes, right? So we know that many of the popular network procedurals, especially the police dramas, have been known to perpetrate Black stereotypes. How do you see that changing now with our current climate?
Oh, I see it changing, again, because where people are, be it spiritually, mentally, everyone has a TV there. You can see what's happening. Thank God for cameras, in our phones. So you can't get away from it, right?
Yeah.
So I think that there is more pressure to be responsible.
Yeah, yeah. Do you see it already happening, Robbie? In first of all, what's going on? I mean, are we at a total standstill, or are there still are the procedural shows, all of the shows still sort of moving forward? expecting to sort of be back, on
Oh, you
track
mean
soon?
in terms of production?
Yeah, in terms of production.
Oh, I'm seeing more and more things, getting up and going. I know that there are different pacing for, it just really depends on what the production is. I know there are the COVID policies and procedures, and that's, for some companies, it's easier to meet them than others. It just really depends on what the script calls for, what type of material there is that you have to execute.
Right.
But the goal is for everyone to get back to work.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's coming. It's starting slowly. There are clearly more productions happening that are shooting in Atlanta. So those,
Okay.
and I haven't heard any cases where there has been an outbreak of the virus, which is good. So the more you can keep it's all about safety first.
Of
So
course.
long as you can keep the working environment safe and COVID-free,
Yeah.
then we'll see more projects getting.
Right. So yeah, I know that, for example, Tyler Perry has begun with getting his cast and crew back for The Oval, because Javon is one of my friends who stars in it. And so I know that they're, back and sort of quarantined and stuff. So are you finding that Atlanta right now is sort of,
Yes.
one of the first cities to get started back in production?
Yes.
Is there anybody else, or is it mainly Atlanta right now?
From where I sit, and as far as I can tell, it seems to be more so there.
More so
But
there.
I'm hearing, different projects at least starting to get dates for pre-production and dates for the start of principal photography that are shows that shoot locally here in LA.
Right.
We have projects at BET that we, shoot both in Atlanta and Los Angeles that we are looking, to get going on very soon too. So it's a slow process, but it's coming back. Hang in there. It really is.
We're gonna all be back together, right?
Back together. I don't think it's gonna be. It's not the same.
No.
No,
as it should not be.
It shouldn't be. The world as we knew it is bygone.
Absolutely.
Bye bygone.
Yep. Bye bye. Hello, new world. We're moving forward.
Moving forward.
Yeah, I'm happy about that. I'm very happy. I'm always very optimistic.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about what's to come, and I'm very optimistic. There's always that little part of me that says, okay, but we'll see. But I do believe that we're in a new day, and people are going to be held responsible now more so than ever. And I think with more people coming in and standing up, I think we're going to be in a better position, I think, for the first time ever. So let me ask you a question. Even in the work that in your productions, in terms of BET productions, are you seeing that that's already taking place in terms of, I guess it's hard to say because BET is primarily casting Black African Americans, or African Americans rather. But so it might not be I'm not sure, but are you seeing that they're more that's already changing in terms of there being more opportunities for African Americans out there?
Well, definitely as a whole, there is. And then like you already touched on at BET, that's what we look to do. That's what we're about.
Yeah, which we love. We love you guys.
Yeah, our stories for our culture, our talent. We love all talent, but our responsibility, is to really tell our stories. Be the best to tell our stories, because we are the best ones to tell our stories, right?
That's right. And you are.
Yeah, so we will continue to look for, I know certainly it's a personal mission and goal, continuous goal of mine to continue to look for the new talent, the emerging talent, the undiscovered talent, and then to look to also promote the talent that is re-emerging, that we haven't seen in a while, the ones who
Good.
have in the time, you know,
That's
and
good. That's
while
good.
staying open to the influencers who think that this is something they might want to try, you know, and you know, the actresses and actors that are putting the time in classes and, you know, really putting the time in. And
Yeah.
trust me, I see it, I understand it, I respect it.
Yeah, that's
Know
good.
it.
Let me ask you about that. As an acting coach, you know, I'm always promoting, you know, that we stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Do you think that because of, um, you know, us having to really rely on self-tapes now, do you think that that gives, you know, sort of that new actor, not new in terms of experience, but new in terms of you know, just sort of being fresh and new to the business? Is there, does that mean that there's more opportunity, that you are going to be seeing more, you know, actors that, you know, might be new to the business, or maybe who don't have an agent, you know, but are submitting? Is it opening a little wider for the actor?
Absolutely, just naturally getting, if you are able to, well, let's put it this way. Prior to us being forced to be self, you know, receiving self tapes only, you
Mhm.
know, there were casting directors who were working in that, working toward that anyway, you know, and so opening it to receiving self tape submissions just spreads the net, spreads your reach, and you can cast your net wider if people, you know, on the other side of the country or even world can audition for your project. You
Yeah,
can only
that's
see
cool.
but so many people in a day. I'm old school. I love in person
Yeah, me
casting,
too.
auditioning, meeting the actor, you know, being able to interact, give notes, feedback, do again, do it again, do it again.
Absolutely.
I love that. I do open casting calls, you know, and sit there for days. And I know actors show up the night before and wait for hours.
Yeah,
And everybody gets their time, and we're there to the last person. I love that.
I
You know,
love that too.
again, if we see 1,000 people in a weekend, you can see 10 times more
Yeah,
if people are sending in self tapes. So it's a great thing.
yeah,
And because God is so good, we're in a position now where people are, you know, okay with that, or it's becoming really the norm,
the norm.
you
Yeah,
know. So that said, actors just really have to make sure that they have their whole setup right,
right.
because that's all you get is the tape now, you
Yeah,
know. So, and it's real easy to just kind of fast forward,
yeah, yeah,
you know.
yeah.
So you want to make sure
Yeah,
you can
that's
be
why
sure.
I tell my actors, you got to start strong and you got to end strong. But most important is you got to start strong, right? Because they only have that few, you only have a few minutes to be able to look at a self tape and make an informed decision.
Make a
Um,
decision, and then you want to make sure just that it's it looks
frame,
technically, if the frame, the lighting, the sound, you
all
know,
that
so I
matters.
mean, all of that. So I
Yeah.
mean, you know, you have to make that investment. And it said to, I did this other class not long ago, and I was saying it's like investing in headshots. Remember when you would take them over and again, get another photographer, another shot, and then you would end up with one, and maybe you spent a little bit more, but it's your calling card.
It's your calling card. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's part of your business
Yeah, yeah.
to know all those details. Okay, so another question I had for you, and these are, you know, questions that we went to the actors for. We wanted to make sure we were very sort of specific in our direction in this conversation. So one of the other questions that we wanted to sort of talk on other points was to talk about safety for Black actors. So how do you envision best practices for agencies to protect Black actors and actors of color from harmful work environments, you know?
Wow, mean harmful in terms of,
Meaning mistreated because the color of their skin, or not treated as well, or not paid as well.
oh, again, I think because there is sensitivity and more awareness of that now, if you find yourself in that position and situation, you have to speak up.
Yeah, good.
You just have to tell somebody, and if you don't want to tell that person, then tell someone else, but you have to make it known, because there's nothing that you should never be in a scenario where you're feeling that you are being abused, mistreated. There is not enough money in the world for that ever, right?
Right.
Complain.
Absolutely.
That's what you do.
What did you say?
Complain to someone.
Complain.
No.
To someone.
And now the other thing too, that there are, well, this is more so probably with, you have the intimacy coaches and such, but there are, there are people on set that are supposed to be there for you, and I think that what I can suggest if it's a new set, find out who that is, who is the talent rep.
Yeah. I've never myself experienced that ever.
Right.
Being on set, but I was actually really surprised to hear quite a few actors ask that and want to know.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, really? Okay. Where, anytime that you're feeling like you're not being treated fairly.
And that's what your union is there for too, to protect.
Exactly. You take it to your union.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a really interesting one that was mentioned, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. You probably are, but in 2018, writer-director Boots Riley's released a film called Sorry to Bother You, which centered on a Black man who discovers his white voice. It starred wonderful actor Lakeith Stanfield and my girl, amazing actress Tessa Thompson, who I had the pleasure of starring opposite of in the award-winning film Mississippi Damned. He sort of introduced back the word code switching, right? And for those of you who may not have heard the term, or who may not know what the term means, it's the act of altering how you express yourself based on your audience. So for us as African Americans, that's using your white voice, right? And we all know it. We grew up with it. We grew up with a uncle or mother or father, or we've all at some point have had to like switch it up when we're dealing and talking, with the white people specifically. And while it's funny, it's also not funny, right? What are your thoughts, on that today? With actors who feel and we're gonna just keep it to actors, just to sort of keep it to stay in this lane. What are your thoughts about that? About actors who feel like they have to code switch today in order to sort of maintain a relationship with some of their white counterparts?
I'm of the mindset, and I get why people feel that they need to do that, but I think at the end of the day, you really have to just truth and or be who you are. It ultimately is the best way to be. I mean, if you're trying to be something or someone else, there's no comfort or peace in that. Yeah. So there's going to be something that feels awkward, may not be in what you're saying, but it's going to come out in another way, right? So I think even in situations like that, you have to, be responsible and each one is different, right? Each situation and scenario and relationship is different. And you're responsible in those relationships, but I don't think you should ever be anyone who you're not.
Yeah.
You know, and the whole code switching thing, you know, you just know how to, act like your mother's like, you know how to act when you go out. Just, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. 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 But I think, sort of going at it from a different angle, there's also, I found it really interesting when I found it like one of the things that we wanted to sort of discuss, and that it's not the first time it was brought up, this whole idea of code switching. I mean, there is the truth of that. We have learned by way of survival to have to sort of switch it up when we're dealing with white people, right? It's just real talk, like that was what the movie was made of, that the guy found that when he started switching to his white voice, he started getting more work, he started getting more business. And I just find it to be a very interesting conversation now, today, that we have to really get back to teaching our kids that we need to learn to own our voices, like more than ever.
Definitely starts, and here's the thing, and I do understand what you're saying. We didn't just get here. It's taken a very long time. We've been in this scenario for a very long time, so it's not going to change, overnight. And it definitely is a mind shift, not just, it will obviously each person separately, but as a whole, and so it's almost like re-educating people, re-educating yourself, and then just learning and teaching from a very young age empathy, and an acceptance of people for who they are, and creating, and it may sound lofty, but really creating a space where people feel comfortable and as if like they can be who you are, and you accept that, right? But that is something, again, that comes from, being aware of it, caring enough about it to want to make a difference, and then, making that difference. Not negating, like, again, feeling like you have to do that or doing that, and seeing the different reaction or acceptance you get as a result of it. That's real.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, it's really important. I found it to be very interesting. I mean, when I saw it brought up, the whole code switching thing, I think, we should be teaching our children to love their natural forms of expression, and rather than criticizing the whole code switching, because I get it. I grew up around that. I'm guilty of probably doing it myself, sort of behaving a certain way. I don't do it anymore. I don't care. I've come into myself, and I take pride of who I am, and and what I am. But I think it's important that I think we should criticize the condition under which it occurs, right? Like, because it's when you feel that you have to do that, and I think the importance of reminding yourself to really love who you are, and making sure that we're teaching that to our children, right? To love and express who we are at all times. But it's scary sometimes when you're being attacked just by the color of your skin, when we're seeing that, when people who are supposed to protect us, like police officers, but the opposite is having it. So I get it, right? It's also been used as a form of protection, of self-protection. But I think right now, in this new day, it's about us really, really owning who we are.
Yes, owning who we are, and then also seeing where, owning who we are, understanding our value. And then also it says something when finally it's seeming as if other people are recognizing that too.
Yeah, yeah. So Do you feel like, and we're gonna be, just to stay close to time, we're gonna be introducing our next, our actor who's coming in to join us in the conversation. I thought it was a good idea to have another actor come in to give sort of their perspective on it. I'm just here to, sort of help create the platform and to start the conversation. And so I'm really excited to bring her on. I guess in terms of just overall, Robbie, do you feel like we're going to see change in casting? Do you feel like there are going to be more opportunities for African Americans right now?
Yes, yes, I do, for all the reasons that we've stated.
Yeah.
And I think there are more opportunities, there are more, I think, just content wise, there's more content being created, so opportunities will come from that. And then I think there is more of an appetite to, just be more open to seeing people that are fresh and new, that, aren't your kind of regular folks that kind of your go-to.
Mhm.
And yeah, and I think that again, that time is now because of everything that's happened.
Yeah, I think it's a new day. So I think like some of these sort of concerns that we've had in the past, I mean, all come back to that it's a new day.
It's a
I think it all comes back. It's a new day. I did want to quickly introduce, I see that Tiffany is here. Tiffany has joined us. Hi, Tiffany. Hi, beautiful. Let me give you a quick little background. Tiffany comes from Trinidad. She's Trinidadian, which I love. She has she's a Chicago actor. She's worked on stages such as Chicago Shakespeare Theater, Victory Gardens, the Goodman Theater. Her TV credits include shows such as Space Force, Grey's Anatomy, How to Get Away with Murder, Love, Jane the Virgin, Dead to Me, and Raven's Home. She's also been featured. It has also been in features such as Win It All and I Hate Kids. She's a proud SAG-AFTRA member. And when she is not on screen, she can be found hiking in the mountains or twirling on the dance floor. And I lop that. Okay.
by chance.
That's right. Let's go. So Tiffany, thank you for joining us. This has been a great conversation. I'm like I said, I'm always an optimistic. So I feel like some of the questions, are sort of leading to the same answer, Robbie, which is, it's a new day. People are being held responsible and accountable. And we're going to see, as African Americans, we're going to see change. And that's what this is about, is, bringing some hope to Black actors such as myself and Tiffany. Tiffany, I'm sure you've been hearing the conversation, and I really would love to hear some of your input in terms of anything that we've already spoken. One other thing I wanted to sort of bring to the table and speak on is representation behind the camera, Robbie and Tiffany, representation behind the camera, right? So what steps do you think that those in power, that being white or Black, should take to create better representation behind the camera? Like, can we expect, them to, our folks as well as white folks to, sort of have a voice to, really, really implement change? I mean, how does that work? Is it possible? Like,
I definitely think it's possible. And thank you so much for having me here today for this. Because when we begin to look at this art and the wholeness that it is, and we make sure that we have representation behind the camera, there is a fullness that happens that's just incredible. And something you guys have both noted is us creating our own work. Pick up your phone and do something. I've been saying, and I've started creating my own work as I'm living in LA, is that, well, just as I'm asking for representation in front of the screen, so I'm putting myself in things, I also got to be responsible to do the same thing behind the camera. Right. So when we set the example, and it's almost like when you set those boundaries for yourself of like, this is what I need, this is how the world needs to show up for me, you start to also see that throughout. I see it trickling down. When I've been on a couple of sets, I'm like, oh, wow. It's, and of course, particular sets, like if you're on Raven's Home or something like that, you're seeing really diverse cast of people, and you're seeing diversity when it comes behind the screen. Other places, they can definitely use some support. It is trickling down in this new day, but as we feel stronger with our voices saying, hey, this is what I need. I'm a huge advocate. I'm also on the Los Angeles local board for SAG-AFTRA. A big thing that I've been putting forward is representation when it comes to hair and makeup for us. So when we're making that noise saying, this is what I need, and not being afraid to say this is what I need, we see it come forward slowly, but it's coming forward.
Yeah, and I'm talking more so about those in power, right? Like those in power, especially us. And we know, again, I'm trying to make sure that we, do some, just really, really keep it transparent, because I think that is what we need now, right? Like we know we've been through this, we've been, sort of, fighting for change and fighting for us to have our own space and to be treated a certain way, to be looked on, for casting to be more diverse and to open, and for them to see us more. And we know that we have like the Avas and the Tyler Perrys and many people that are doing the BETs, that are doing the best to create a space for us and work for us. But what about the powers that be that are in place now, that have been in that position for many years? What about those people that can stand up and should stand up moving forward and saying, yeah, no, this we want to see more of this? I mean, is that possible in terms of the politics, Robbie?
Yeah. Again, and it's a kind of a collective mindset, and right. and a collective mindset, a decision to do just that. And it really has to be, like I said, so deliberate and intentional that where it's laid out, okay, we have 10 series this year. We are going to make sure at least 5 of those series have a Black casting director. 5 of those pilots get Black, directors. We need 3 showrunners that are Black, and
yeah, those are the steps that can be taken.
Yes.
Right, by those in power. Like Tiffany said,
yeah.
all those things.
Yes, those are in power. At the studios, we know them all. At the networks, we know them all. At the cable networks, we know them all. Everybody can take that position and do exactly that. And if you say you want to make a change, if you're saying Black Lives Matter, to all of us in every way, front of, behind the camera, then here's your opportunity to really, be of your word, right? So it's possible. It's just, it's a choice. You make the decision and you do it. You have to be mindful and you have to be deliberate. Period. That's it.
Can I add on there too? And just like you said, for the place of transparency, I was watching another panel with another group, diverse representation, and a big thing they noted was that we also need people in development and in the executive level positions. Otherwise, we're not going to get the showrunners, we're not going to get the casting directors, we're not going to get those writers and such. Right. So just to be honest, expecting that from the powers that be right now, I'm a little bit skeptical. I think it can happen. I just don't see like this massive change occurring. Exactly. But when we have representation from BIPOCs in those positions that can hire those people, we see that massive change happen.
That's right. Yep. I'm in full agreement with you on that.
Mm-hmm.
Robbie, so I think we've we've kind of gone around in circles, and I think we're, you know, sort of saying the same thing. And that is that we can be hopeful. We can be hopeful, you know, that there will be more opportunities for us as African Americans. I think that, you know, more of us need to come together, you know. Robbie, what about how is the future of casting, African American casting directors coming together, like really, really coming together, as well as African American producers in the powers to be, just coming together and sitting down and really, you know, sort of taking this by force? Is that something that's happening? Or, you know, our conversations being, our meetings, you know, what's happening behind closed doors here?
Definitely conversations are happening. You know, there is a lot, again, that, you know, we all recognize that this is a space where we've never been in, and that there are things that we can accomplish, you know, and that, you know, it's the climate to make change is here. We are here, you know, so there are conversations that are happening. And, you know, if, you know, it takes, you gotta be very, you gotta plan, you gotta have goals and all of those things, you know, but the opportunity is here to make change.
And you know, I know it can be really tough with all the different egos, but I truly hope that, you know, there's conversations, and there, you know, sort of plans in order. You know, we're back here really, really hoping that we're going to see a change, just because, you know, obviously we've heard the talk, and there are things that we've seen sort of put into place in terms of casting and things being done, but we've never really experienced like a major change, right, Tiffany?
Yeah, definitely. Well, and I was even thinking about something, Robbie, that you said earlier, was that now's the time to have your pitch ready. Now's the time to be able to walk in the room and have that thing. And we know, like, and like you were saying, Josie, of like, be ready so you don't have to get ready. And there's a little bit of, just as on the actor side, is like, is it really that opportunity there? But is it really there? Because I've had all the papers right here. Right. But I think that's a little bit too of trusting that this is a new day, but understanding, needing to know, what's that door that I get to knock on now, that door wasn't there before. I don't know what that picture looks like.
Yeah, where is that door? Where, you know, like where is that door? How do you go about that? Right.
Exactly. It's, you know, and there's been a really wonderful surge that happened, like on Instagram, where a lot of casting directors were highlighting different actors, or you had these different challenges and such, which I think is awesome. And then I also say, okay, and what else from there? I know that was one little piece of the box, you know, you put in together to get yourself forward, but how much is that moving the needle for us? That's where for myself, I'm like, trust the process. Trust what's happening right now, because there are doors that are opening. I'm not sure what door I'm knocking on, but I'm keeping myself available for it. And I hope others are, because hopefully it is going to change differently than it has in the past.
Trust that doing that and putting yourself out there, you know, challenges, and, you know, I've been out there too, you know, giving opportunity for people to, you know, record or audition for projects. And it's more than just the casting director who requested it that's seeing it, you know? So there are other, you know, people, folks like myself, agents, you know, content creators. You never know where it's coming from, you know? So you might be approaching it as if I'm going, you know, for this one challenge or for this one role, and the opportunity come from something else down the line. So again, just, you know, trust the process, and it really is that. A process.
So we're going to end our wonderful time here with you on this just final question, Robbie, just to sort of spread some hope. you know, what does a good new day look like for you, Robbie, for actors, in terms of hearing it from you? What can they expect when, we sort of get back to whatever the new normal is going to be? What's a positive word? And also one thing I think that they would love to hear from you is, any advice that you can give on presenting a good self-tape, which is, how everyone's going to be being cast nowadays, right? Or for the time being.
Mhm. I think a good new day is waking up and knowing that where you might not have had an opportunity this time last year for someone to see you that you've never met before, there is a greater opportunity that you will today, given how the business has changed. And which leads me to self-tapes and what I said earlier, really investing in your package, right? It's you, and you want to present the best you possible. So not only should your audition be tight, and you bring your A game, but the presentation, how it looks, test the sound. There's simple things, and it's really just kind of self-tape etiquette. Make sure we know who you are. Say your name. Tell us how tall you are at the beginning. I prefer at the beginning. Some people like tail slates, and there might be, a list of direction at the beginning, and then follow those, whatever it is. But generally speaking, hi, my name is, this is the role I'm reading for, and my height is, and then go right into it. If you have someone reading with you, make sure that person can be heard on the other side. Test the sound, make sure there's no echo if you can help it. If you have an echo, just put, if you can find a soundboard, great. If it's egg cartons, put them up somewhere. Right. So the sound bounces off of those, right? Because what happens is if you're watching it and you can't hear it, or if the sound is something, whatever that is, that's where your attention goes to. And then you miss everything that's happening in the scene, right? With the talent. What is that? Why is there that echo? Oh my God. Making sure that the framing is right. Or why are they so far back? So all of those things, you just want to always keep in mind that you are the center of this, presentation, and you want to be the one that they pay attention to for all the right reasons. Right. And then ultimately leave with the job if it's for you. And if you don't get it, that means it wasn't your job and there's something else that's waiting.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Amen. Amen. Tiffany, I want to ask you one more question just to make sure we let you participate just a little more. I'm sorry you came in just in the last few minutes, but how are you feeling just hearing what Robbie said and hearing the conversation, Tiffany? What's your takeaway, and how are you feeling as an actor today in terms of your future and what that's going to look like for you?
Yeah. Ooh, there were so many good takeaways. I was taking notes before I stepped into this. For me, where I'm at and myself right now, also is a little bit different. I'm a new mom. So there's the world. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So there's the world of, how do I put a self-tape together in 30 minutes when my baby's asleep? But it's a good thing because you got to learn how to I need to get it on the first take. I don't have time for a whole lot of other things. And when you're in the room, don't you want to have your first take?
That's right.
So that's where I'm at as an artist at the moment. My world is my baby, and I'm infusing my art into that world. And just a takeaway from today, I think, is we got to trust what's happening. Mm-hmm. Things are shifting, and it's shifting for us. So ride that wave right now, because it's for us, and trust it's going to take us further forward.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Amen to that. Amen to that. Okay, ladies, beautiful queens. It's been such a wonderful time together. Robbie, you're just incredible. Thank you. I know that you didn't have to do this, but you did. I really appreciate you. I'm leaving feeling optimistic, even more optimistic in terms of where we're at. I really believe that. I mean, all of the questions that we had were questions that we could have there was a time, I think, and like you said, Tiffany, not that we're all like, you know, trusting, but we're hoping, right?
Yeah.
We're hoping
Very
that,
much so.
you know, with this new shift that things are shifting, and that the powers that be, whether Black or white, are sort of standing up, and there are new policies, and that sort of window is expanding for us. And so I'm very much encouraged.
Yeah.
Did you freeze?
I think she just froze. Yeah.
For the best that. Oh, I froze.
Yeah, there you go. You're back.
I froze.
You're
Yeah.
good now.
Okay, I'm back. I'm back. I'm just excited, and I think that we need to give hope to our actors out there, that, you know, that we are shifting into a new space, and that if there was ever a time for us to be sort of hopeful, right?
Yes,
And sort of
receive it. Receive it. It's good. It really is good.
yes.
It really is.
Amen. So we're going to end on that note. Okay. I just want to remind you guys that this was a free webinar, but we would love for you to make a contribution, if you could, to Read for Hope Foundation. Again, their mission is to improve the vitality of the global village by changing specific cultural attitudes about wellness, disease prevention, and health disparities through the strategic implementation of messages that impact pop culture. Okay, that sounds, I mean, it couldn't be a better time than to give to Read for Hope Foundation, with COVID running rapid, and taking us out, to make sure that we are supporting foundations such as Read for Hope Foundation. Tiffany, thank you so much. You're so beautiful. God bless you. And
Thank you. I'm gonna receive all those blessings. Thank you.
Thank you, Tiffany.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you, Josie.
Thank you to my wonderful, absolutely, Robbie. Thank you so much. We'll jump on the call and talk after this if you have a few minutes. But a special thanks again to my wonderful agent for, you know, being conscious enough to know that this was an important conversation to be had. Okay. All right. Goodbye, everyone. You know what? I'm so sorry. I just kind of wanted to see really quickly. Did anybody have one question that we could answer? I don't think so. I think we had a whole bunch of really, really good listeners dropped in. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a good day, everyone.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.